Thank you so much for clicking on this video and joining me today in our conversation about professional development. How do you choose what professional development is right for you? And how do you, given that you have, taken the leap and gone, yes, I want to get some PD, how do you choose good quality PD at that? So here goes. So I find this topic really interesting because I think all of us do professional development because it's been drilled into us that that's really important. And I truly believe that. I think upskilling and investing in yourself and getting better with your skills is never wasted. And I think it is really to be explored as much as possible and to be prioritized as much as possible as well. But how do we pick good PD? So I'm going to break today's conversation into kind of three cohorts. So the first cohort of speeches that I want to talk about and talk to is undergraduate graduate speeches. So how do you, as a studying speechie, SLP to be, decide on what PD to do? And I think that is a tricky one because while you're in your undergraduate studies, you are getting some exposure to clients and the work that's ahead of you as when you graduate, but you're also being exposed to the overall breadth of speech pathology, but also you're not getting a huge amount of details or detailed learning or in-depth learning in some of the subject areas that you really do need to get a lot of in-depth learning. So what I would say to you as a studying SLP is to start having a think about where you might want to work. So maybe not with the population that you might want to work, but where do you want to work? What job opportunities are going to be out there when you graduate? And then starting to look at PD from that lens. So a little bit of a different type of suggestion than maybe you would have thought. But I think, we're always needing to look for what happens after we graduate. Where are we going to be working? What opportunities are out there? And then kind of going, is that the direction that I want to go in? And if not, then thinking about, okay, well, what skills do I need to develop to go in the direction that I want to go in? So I think that's the first one for SLPs to be. And then the second one is maybe if there are areas that you are really starting to be geared up for, or look, in the location where I'm thinking about in the city or the town that I'm looking at getting a job, I'm going to be working with a lot of autistic children. So this is an area that I need PD in, or getting more, if you're thinking about moving into pediatrics, maybe even just getting some PD just on basic sensory integration and regulation. That would be a really good one because you'd be able to use that with the majority of your clients. So if not all your clients. So that's what I would suggest. Now, when you are a new or early career speechy and you've gone into your career and you're in either the first few months of your career or in the first few years of your career, you've got a caseload, you've got a job that you've gone into. And hopefully that job, yes, it's going to extend you, and yes, you're going to have a huge learning curve, but hopefully it excites you as well. So in this type of workplace, I think what you're probably going to have to look at is, when you look at your caseload, who are the clients that really light you up and you're just like, oh, today's going to be a good day, I get to see so-and-so. And then who are the clients, because we all have those clients that just fill you with a little bit of dread or anxiety or worry or concern. And if you can start grouping your clients, what you're probably going to find is that you're going to find that there is an area of weakness in terms of there is an area of skills that you haven't developed yet. That's what's filling you with dread when you're thinking about those clients. It's not because you're not a good clinician. It's literally because you don't have the skills that you need. Now, you might be surprised. It may not be a particular caseload type. The mentees that I'm talking to, a lot of them will talk about they've got an issue or they have difficulty with particular clients, but actually it's the conversation with the parents. It's the parent coaching that they're finding really tricky, or it might be being assertive, or it might be setting boundaries, and these clients that they're finding tricky all challenge those boundaries. So it may not, your upskilling may not necessarily fall into direct speech pathology areas. They might be just life development areas, but start having a think about what it is that is making your speechy life not so fantastic, because that's a good area to get PD in. The other area that I would look at is when you're looking at your caseload, I would look at PD initially as what professional development course or online workshop, or whichever way that you get your PD, what's going to impact the largest amount or the most amount of your clients, what's going to make the biggest shift in your day and your week. So that's what I would start with. I would go broad and then I would narrow down, as opposed to just narrowing down right at the beginning, because I think what you're going to find is that it's going to be, and the reason why I say this, it's harder to implement. So if you do a PD and you're like, okay, I'm going to do a PD all about literacy, and I'm going to do like the Sounds Right program, and I'm just going to get really upskilled in it. And you've only got 3 kids on your caseload that you're doing Sounds Right with, or that you can do Sounds Right with. That's only 3 kids that you get to practice those skills with. But there's the rest of your kids that also need other things that you may need upskilling in. Whereas you might go, you know what, I'm going to do a play PD because I need to do play with, I see a lot of early intervention kiddos. I need to do lots of play. I need to teach parents about play. I need to do parent coaching in that area. I'm going to do a play PD. And what you're going to find is that it's going to impact a lot more of your caseload, for example, if that's what sort of caseload you have. And you're going to get lots of practice at it, because that's the thing. There's no point doing PD if you don't implement, and you need the clients to implement on. So that's the way that I would look at PD when you are in the early stages of your career. And then if you're a speechy that's been out for a number of years and you've worked in various caseloads, and this might be your 2nd or 3rd job, or you might have been in the same organisation, but you kind of moved up the hierarchy, I would start having a look at your, like it is time, like we don't have, like, we're not allowed to call ourselves specialists, right? But we have areas that we really enjoy and thrive in working. So are you at that point in your career where you go, goodness, I really love this area of speech pathology, and this is the area that I really want to work in, and this is the area that I want to have the majority of my clients having difficulties in, because this is the area I really want to drill down and get really good at and start becoming an expert in? Or is it that you want to kind of go into management, and you're like, okay, well, I'm ready to start supporting some of the early career speechies that are coming into my organization, or I'm ready to move into a middle management position? Like, what is it that you want to do? Because now this is, your PD is about career building. It's not just about skill development in terms of learning about a specific skill area. So start thinking a little bit more broadly, and kind of thinking on your maybe 2, 3, 5-year plan at this point in terms of what PD that you choose. So I hope that helps you kind of start thinking about where you are and the type of PD that you need for the stage of speechy that you are at. So that's my first one. I'm going to have a look over my notes. Now, in terms of getting good quality PD, like, I'm a really practical person, and nothing irritates me more. And I use the word irritate, because it's not frustration. It's literally, I get really irritated by it. When I go and receive PD and it sits very much in theory, and I love theory. I think theory is awesome. Theory is needed, but it sits in theory and there are no practical applications to it. And I feel like, yes, I've learned something, but this is where I've started the PD at. This is where I need my skills to be. This PD, because it's been in that theoretical framework, has only shifted me this much. And somehow I still need to build this bridge from where I'm at now to where I need to be. And I don't know how to do that. So that really irritates me. So I tend to go for PDs that are really practical, because I want to be able to, when I'm writing my notes in the PD, I want to be able to pick out clients off my caseload and know exactly what I'm going to do with the client in our next session based on what I've just learned. Like, that's how you implement, right? Like, and you're not going to get better if you don't implement. So what I would say is that you want to look for PD that's practical. So when we're doing this, I find that sometimes stepping out of the speech pathology led PD is really helpful for this. So I have found over the years that attending PDs that occupational therapists run really helpful, because they tend to be super practical. I also think when you're looking at PDs so firstly, look at other professions that are leading the PD rather than just speech pathologists. The second one is, I think if you are attending, especially if you are just gaining knowledge. So I did this when I was starting to work more with autistic kiddos, and I really needed to upskill in this area, because it was an area that I had shied away from for so long. And then all of a sudden, you know, like I had a client and I was getting more clients and I really wanted to upskill in this area. So what I found really helpful, especially for that entry level PD, is also going to PD that teachers are attending, because again, PDs for teachers tend to be very, very practical. And often the strategies are classroom-based strategies, and those strategies are so easy to bring back into those one-on-one settings that we have in our clinic space, right? So I would say OTs, teacher PDs are really, really helpful. The next thing that I would say with choosing PDs as well is it's so much easier now, because you've got Instagram and Facebook accounts that you can follow and you can read everybody's reviews on it. But what you're looking for is the word practical, because if people are saying that it is practical, then you know that you're going to walk away with things that you can put into place straight away. You're not going to have to sit for hours and hours and go through your notes and really have to do like almost like another lot of time to unpack everything in order to then apply it. All of that has been done for you, because if you're teaching somebody, theory is important, and sitting up in theoretical frameworks is really important, but so is getting practical. And if you are not able to bridge that between theory and practice, then the PD, I feel, the PD is missing something, because it's certainly not targeting me as the participant. So I would say to you, yeah, definitely looking for practical PD, especially when you are first learning about a topic, or you're really wanting to upskill and just get those strategies and those tools that you need so that you can get those big wins straight away. I think that's going to be really, really important. So that's the next one. And then when you are picking PD as well, I think it's really important to have a think about versatility. So if you've got a PD, so I'm going to talk about the play PD. So I think like I've done 2 play PDs. One was done by the fantastic Karen Stagnetti, and you can get that PD through Speech Pathology Australia. They've got a recording now of it as well. I did it years ago in over East, and I just found her PD practical but also very versatile. So I could use it with my 3-year-olds, but I could also use it with my 6 and 7-year-olds. So I found that really helpful, because it wasn't just I could use it with this caseload and this age group, I could use it across the board. The second play PD that I've done is, and it escapes me, but it was by Kirsten and Anna D, American speech pathologists. It's a play-based therapy course, and it was an online PD. And what I enjoyed about that, for me, you know, I did it only last year, so I've had lots of experience in play, but what I found it really useful was that it covered lots of different areas. So it covered areas such as, you know, how to find good play resources, and then how to apply that play, but also to take what so all of that, for me, I already knew that, but what I loved about it was that it was so versatile, because then talked about, and so it didn't stop there. It talked about how to use all of the toys that you've got already and how to use it in different ways, how to use the element of surprise in therapy, how to use play through telehealth, how to use it with older children. So what they were doing when they have created this PD is that they have tried to give so much information and so much practical information that again went across a variety of age spans and also across different delivery models, therapy delivery models as well. So again, there was that versatility. So I would say that is something that you want to be looking at when you're picking your PD as well, because that's what's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. And if you are going to be investing this time and this money and this effort and this energy and this, and you're going to invest yourself in this PD, then it's important that you get as much as you can from the PD. And if you're asking your line manager to pay for the course fee, or even just to pay for your day, your day's wages while you go to the PD, there has to be a huge bang for your buck at the end of it, because otherwise you could be seeing clients and bringing in revenue into the clinic. So and that's, I think, one of the things that we forget sometimes is that attending PD is actually incredibly expensive. It's not just the cost of the actual enrollment fees, but it is also the cost of the loss of income for that day that you are not seeing clients. And then all the time that you've got to spend outside of work to try and, or within work, but to bring it all together and to be able to apply it into your everyday therapies as well. So it is a huge investment. So think about that when you are looking at what PDs to do, and be really mindful of the quality of the PDs that you are attending, because that will eventually be the quality of the skills that you have. And you want to have these exceptional skills, because the more skilled up you are, the more confident and empowered you're going to be to do the work that you're going to be doing. So I highly encourage you to start thinking about which stage you are in your speech pathology journey, and start making some decisions based on where you are in your journey. Then to start looking at courses that aren't necessarily run by speech pathologists, but will be able to give you so much practical information that you can implement. Think about how you're going to implement that information as well, and make it as practical and, like, get in there and start using it straight away. That's a really big one, because practice and practice and practice and practice is what makes you feel more skilled and be more skilled. And then the last thing to have a think about as well is the versatility. Is it, am I attending a PD that I'm only going to be able to use for 3 clients, or am I attending a PD that I can use with the majority of my clients or a lot of my clients on my caseload? Or is this PD going to get me to the next level of my career as well? So I hope you found that helpful, to start thinking about PD and what types of PD that you're enrolling in. If you have found this helpful, please pop in a comment and let me know. If you've got any questions about PD, you're welcome to DM me on Instagram. And if you are after the freebie that goes with this video, click on the link. Have a wonderful day.